I want to start today by asking everyone in the audience to take a deep breath. If you logged onto the webinar feeling a sense of dread, if looking at financial statements makes you feel like you're about to take a high school algebra test you didn't study for, you're in the right place and you're not alone. Most nonprofit leaders I know started their organizations or took their executive roles because they're passionate about a cause, not because you were dying to sit with a balance sheet on Friday afternoon. Here's the secret we're going to unpack today. Financial reports are not math tests. They're storybooks. They're just written in numbers instead of words. Once you learn how to read the vocabulary, the reports stop being a compliance chore and start being a powerful strategic tool that you have to steer your ship. Rachel, from where you sit as an auditor, I imagine you see a lot of organizations that are terrified of their own financial stories.
I sure do, Jonathan. As an auditor, people are usually very anxious when we come in. They think that auditors are looking to find errors with their accounting and give them all sorts of points. But the truth is, we really want the books to be clean and have a really good success story being spoken in those financials. And the biggest gap that I see is that many nonprofit executives and board members aren't comfortable preparing and talking about their financial statements. They look at it sort of as a foreign language that they hope they don't have to speak. And they tend to wait until the annual audit or when the 990 is ready to be filed to really start looking and translating those books. But by then, like the year is almost over and you can't change the ending of a movie once the credits are rolling. That's why Jonathan's side of the equation, daily accurate managerial accounting is so critical. When you understand your numbers month to month, you're not preparing for people like me. You're actually learning how to steer your organization and being able to explain your financials clearly.
I love the analogy of the movie credits, Rachel. And to set the stage for our deep dive today, let's look at one of the biggest traps nonprofit leaders fall into. We call it bank balance management. It's a habit we carry over from our personal lives. If there's money in the checking account, we can buy groceries. But in the nonprofit world, that logic can be a little dangerous. For example, you could have $500,000 sitting in the bank account, which feels amazing, but 450,000 of that is restricted grant money designated for a program that doesn't start until next fiscal year. And then you have $60,000 in operating expenses and payroll coming up short term. You're actually in a cash crisis. You just don't see it because you're only looking at the bank balance instead of how your reports talk to each other.
And from an audit perspective, this is really where we see some red flags. When the board or the executive director is only looking at the bank account, they may miss those legal restrictions tied to those dollars. So under GAAP, unfortunately, a dollar is not always a dollar. We have to separate those dollars into distinct buckets based on donor intent. So if your bookkeeping team isn't tracking your cash designated for specific purposes versus unrestricted cash in real time, your financial statements are essentially lying to you. And they're presenting that there is stability when you might actually be running out of general operating cash. And so our goal here today is to bridge that gap. We're going to look at the three core reports, the P&L or the statement of activities in nonprofit speak, the balance sheet or statement of financial position, and the budget versus actual.